people? What's up, people? Act 2 the podcast, episode 64. We are back. International Walk in the building.
And it's your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
The co-hostess with the mostest. What's up, people? We are back. Act 2 the podcast. Hope y'all doing well out there. It's a big week out here. Hope y'all doing good.
Is it a big week?
Yeah. Y'all might see us a little bit, fresher than what we normally are, but, we just felt like we got to get back to, us. And we've been sitting around, lounging in the house, chilling, getting comfortable. But now we got to step our game back up. So if y'all see us looking flyer than normal, that's just what we do.
Looking more presentable. And ladies, I have to say, if your man tells you, you've been looking a little rough,
Frumpy.
take heed to it. I did a survey on my story, and I'll get the results for you in a bit, asking women, do they take into consideration what their man feels or his opinion about what they wear? Because some women have that mentality like, I'm gonna wear what I want, I don't care if he like it or not. And some women do care. I just wanted to know.
To me, my opinion, those are the real women.
Don't say that.
I did say that. That's
well, if
my
their
opinion.
husband doesn't care, then I'm just saying, don't say that's your opinion.
I just said that.
Right,
that's
right.
my
That's
opinion.
your opinion. I mean, to each their own. If you feel like you don't care what your husband's opinion is, and he's still your husband or your man, obviously he don't care that you don't care. So that works for y'all.
Yeah, I think that's problematic when you don't care what your husband's opinion is. But that's
I
another
think it's
thing.
problematic if your husband thinks it's problematic. If you don't care what your husband thinks and y'all good and y'all rocking and he like, oh, well, she gonna wear what she want anyway, then hey, that works for y'all. But if if it's a problem, I don't think, you should wear. And don't get me wrong.
Getting ahead of yourself.
I know there's some things that I might wear that you don't 100% love, like my favorite t-shirt. That don't mean I'm never wearing it, but I'm not gonna wear something that you like, babe, I hate that. Like, it doesn't look, because I want to look good for me, but I want you to like me too.
Right off the track, we got off the track.
Yeah.
So let's get back, okay? Forget all that. Introduction. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
You can catch us on act2thepodcast.com. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on TikTok. You can catch us on Instagram. You can catch us on Breaker. You can catch us on Anchor. You can catch us on Radio Public, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify.
Babe, you did good.
Yeah.
You
I
looked
had to
away
get
and
that
still
out
did
because it's
good.
gonna be late, and we, bullshit, like
Sorry.
yapping about some other stuff.
Well,
But you can catch us on all
conversation.
those platforms. So this shouldn't be no reason why you shouldn't be watching this if you fuck with us.
That was a pregnant pause.
Yep, that's what they call in the industry.
A pregnant
pause.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I am doing
No!
Shh, don't holler.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I feel good. I look good. Hey. I smell good.
How's your
Do I smell good?
You good?
Oh.
You good? How's your mental?
He tried to play me. My mental is good. I feel good. I'm in a good space. Mentally, I'm an 8. I'm an 8. Yeah, I think I'm an 8.
Put you down for 8. How's work?
Work is very busy, but work is an 8.
Work's another 8.
Yeah.
What's your finances like?
My finances, I'm gonna say my finances are a 9.
A neener.
I would like to deplete some of my finances to spend on vacazione, but that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, you should stop nagging it in the hole because it's gonna happen.
I'm not nagging.
You are.
I'm just
What's
being
your physicality
persistent.
like?
Physically, I feel well. No aches, no pains, no. We was moving a little bit of furniture the other day, and my legs reminded me, like, sis, what are you doing?
The dress.
But
shit.
yeah, but physically, I feel good. I feel good.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So my number for, I'm gonna say I'm an 8 for my body.
And just so y'all know out there, last week we added a physical aspect to how you doing. So we gonna get your mental, your work, your finances, and what your body feel like. Because I was experiencing some physical pain last couple weeks.
Yeah. How are you? No. How are you?
I'm good. My mental is good. I would give that a 9.
That's a very good place to be.
Yep.
How's
From
work?
Work, I would give that a 9. I'm way ahead of schedule where I'm supposed to be. So Looks like I'm getting out of the fucking place that I don't want to be.
Are you adjusting now, or are you just adjusting for the sake to get the hell out?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I would never adjust to that place.
What's your finances like?
Finances is a 8 because there might be some depletion in the near future of funds for vacation. So finances is on drop a point, but
nagging works, lady.
They won't drop if the fucking needle keeps getting poked. So let me put that out there.
Nagging works, ladies. How are you feeling physically? How is your body?
Physically, I'm feeling good. My ankle hurt, but I can overcome that. It doesn't hurt as bad as it used to, but I'm good. Physically, I would give myself an 8.
Okay, yeah, you need to stop self-medicating and self-diagnosing, but that's a story for a different day as well.
I don't need to self-stop. What do you mean self-medicating?
I mean, you're not medicating, but like you're using remedies to help your ankles and stuff feel better. And maybe
pressure-sensitive sock.
You might need more than that. Maybe you need some medical attention so they can tell you, hey, you need this. Because maybe you need pressure in your calves and not pressure on your ankle. Or maybe you need pressure
My calves don't hurt.
What I'm saying is, your hip bone connected to your knee bone.
I know, but I can't start just thinking that it's my hip bone when my ankle hurts. So I'm going to attack what hurts, my ankle. So if my ankle
he's the doctor.
hurts,
yeah.
Well, you are too.
No, I'm suggesting that you see one.
I will, but when I think that I need to.
Okay.
I won't go on just because you suggest. When I suggest you go to the doctor, you don't go.
I do,
no,
but
I suggest you go to the doctor tomorrow. All right then, be quiet.
You know what? I'm going strike.
Wows and woes.
I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I'm gonna try. My wow this week is you. You always love me and make me feel good. And let me just say this. I don't need validation from anybody. I know who my man is. I know how you make me feel. But I'm going to tell you this. I didn't tell you prior to the show. I got 3 messages over the last week.
Motherfuckers in your DMs?
No, chill.
I'm just saying.
No, I got 3 messages. 2 from friends that really know me. Girlfriends. And 1 from one of my former classmates. And she was just saying to me, all of them were just kind of acknowledging that they could see and feel the love that you have for me. It's through Instagram, but the people who are my friends, it made me feel good because it was like, they know me and they like, we can just see how happy he makes you. And they don't know each other at all.
Where did that come from?
Because of just some things that I posted, I can't even remember. One was, you had gave me the flowers, which you do often, but one was flowers. The other, I think, may have just been a picture of me or us. So like, one of my girlfriends was just saying she could tell how happy you make me. And then the girl who was my former classmate, she was saying kind of the same, like, she likes looking at the stuff that I post. She can just see the love and happiness. It made me a little sad, but it made me happy for her at the same time because she kind of alluded to the fact that she once had, and sorry, I don't know if she watches the show or not, so sorry if I misquote, but something to the effect like she thought she once had that love, but it wasn't real or it didn't last. Nevertheless, she doesn't have it anymore. But she said, I started dating again because I know God didn't make me to be alone. And that's good because sometimes women get jaded when things go bad. But again, it just made me, it was just, again, I don't need that validation, but it was just like, damn, like I'm happy that my glow does show to people. And I know what we have. Everything doesn't work for everybody. So I'm not saying everybody needs what we have, but it just feels good to be loved. And, so that was my wow. Just like, damn, they see the glow in me. And, thanks to you, I'm going to glow because life and God has blessed me. And you are one of my greatest blessings. So.
Damn, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't think nobody's ever told me I was the greatest blessing.
Really?
Yeah, you act like I got a bunch of people in my life that would have said, Walt, you my greatest blessing.
You are mine.
Woes.
That was a big one. the state of the world in the sense, and I'm not going to be specific, just the stuff that we see and that our brains are exposed to on social media was just the woe for me this week. And just a reminder of how I have to continue to pull back and set boundaries between what my mind is exposed to. And I posted something like that and somebody said, you know what, that's a good idea. And they were going to stop following No Gun Zone. Not saying you have to be uninformed, but be informed at your own discretion,
Right.
not to constantly have that stuff feeding to you. So that was just my woe. Just seeing a couple videos this week was just like, it's not, the situations themselves were bad, but social media just exposes us to too much. So that was that.
My wows this week was just how work it came together. It's only, today is only what it is, but the plans that I had this week just all fell together.
Today is only what it is. I love how you said that. That was slick.
But the plans that I had just all fell together this week, and I like it when that happens.
That's good. What was
So
your
that's
woe?
my wow. My woe is tied to what you said, which we'll talk about later. But just the stories you see online and things that have to do with children.
Yeah.
Like it just bothers the hell out of me, especially when adults are around, or there's no need for people not to be watching the kids, and bad things happen. So that's like just the biggest woe of the week for me. And I hadn't been attached to the internet like that lately, as far as watching shit, like just bad on the internet. But it's always there, no matter how far you stay away. As soon as you go back, it's always there.
But that's the thing. That's what I mean. Like, you figure 20 years ago, maybe even, how old am I? Maybe even 25 years ago, something happened in the world. You hear about a story and you hear about it. That's it. Like, it happened. If you watch the news, you hear about it. But now, again, we are exposed to seeing so much. And I don't care what anybody says. Our brains aren't supposed to be seeing some of this stuff.
Right.
Whether it's, violence that's happening, accidents that are happening. This is why people come back from war and have PTSD from witnessing so many deaths. Our brains aren't supposed to just be seeing things dying. Like, we're just not supposed to see that kind of stuff. And I think the harm in it, in the younger generation, this is like status quo for them. They're used to it, and it's desensitizing them to a lot of things. Me, I always use the analogy like the old people who never wanted to use the ATM because they were afraid. It's like, to me, it's still like jarring, because no, like it's not supposed to be that way. And we have an understanding, because he would show me videos and stuff. Babe, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. But I
don't like when you say that, because I never was like that. It was just I used to share certain things with you, but I never was a gun-ho person.
No,
like,
I'm not saying
babe,
you were
look at
excited about it.
Look at this violent video. Like,
no,
that shit
you would just show it to
too.
keep me informed.
Right.
And I understand that, especially for the platform that we have. It's conversations we may talk about. And I want to be in the know to a certain extent, but he knows, and not saying you were looking at it glorifying it.
If we speaking from something, I want you to have perspective of what I'm speaking about or what we saw. So that's all that is.
It
is. I mean, it makes you feel bad for the
me.
people who do that shit daily, who report on that stuff, who work on the doctors, who work on people, who the coroners who see that shit like over and over and over again. It's like, damn.
I hope they get therapy.
I'm sure everybody needs therapy. Everybody out there got to go get some type of therapy.
I know, but I hope coroners get therapy.
So we added a physical part to the your mental, your work, your finances. You try to add that to your physical and check out how your body is feeling, and share your wows and woes. We always interested in that. Haven't been getting much of people's wows and woes. And share your numbers. What's your mental like? What's your work like? What's your finances like? And what's your physical like? What's your body feeling like? That shit's all important. So let us know. We asking. We want to know.
We'll share ours as well. Give a couple clips with that information so y'all can respond.
All right. Here we go. The slap heard around the world. The slap seen around the world. Let's dissect. Here we go.
All right. Okay, let me just say this.
Hold on. We all know what we're talking about here. Will Smith at the Oscars the other day on Sunday smacked Chris Rock's mustache off his face. And we all seen the video, so I really don't have to describe it because I'm sure all y'all out there saw a piece or cut of the video. But yeah, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock on TV, something like 19 million people watching. And then
whoever wasn't watching, they saw it
after. It
after.
gets spread on social media already, I think, to 500 million impressions. So, and that shit's out there in what they say in perpetuity. It's out there forever. So it's never gonna go away.
Ever?
What you got? What you think?
So let's just say this. After this week,
and let's try to be
concise
and to the point. And let's go back. Let's dissect what's going on here.
Can we agree, people, after Sunday that would have given 7 days to wrap it up and leave this in the past? It's like he said, it's going to be out there in perpetuity.
Well, not really, because some people watch our show on Sunday, so that'll be like the 7th day. So if you want to go to the 8th day, that's cool too.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, because that 7th day will be like when you should be leaving it alone, but that's also when you fuck with us. So fuck with us, then leave it alone.
All right. So let me say this. Couple things that I think, I kind of read a lot of different people's comments. I'm not going to even talk about people's comments because some things I agree with, some things I don't. But here's my take. One, I want to know what was in Chris Rock that allowed him to maintain his composure. Mm-hmm. I don't care about the Oscars. I don't care about any job that you're doing. I don't care if you are, a pastor on the pulpit and somebody walks up to you and hits you in that way. The restraint, even if you don't like physically hit that person, how like you about to do something and you like, ooh, like how did he maintain complete he didn't even like jump at him.
I think in that moment he wasn't in fight or flight and what you would think that he was, but he was in shock. Because he knows Will and he's not expecting that that's going to happen. So in that moment, I would think he wasn't in shock. He wasn't in fight or flight where he was like, oh, I'm about to throw down. And he didn't look scared like I'm about to run. He just looked like, what the fuck just happened?
But I still don't understand how he didn't
his professionalism maintain his composure. But go ahead. I digress. Go ahead.
No, I hear what you're saying. Like I know I can imagine the shock and thinking, what the hell is happening right now? But just as a person, not even as a man, I think if my mom smacked me across my face, I'm going to be shocked. But my immediate reaction will be like what? Even if you don't all the way swing, even if you don't hit the other person back, you immediately going to be like, what the? And then maybe regain yourself. So I wonder how he didn't do that. One of the things that I saw people doing that I just completely makes me cringe is making up their own stories. So much conjecture being put out there where we have no idea what was said or what we don't know.
Give me an example.
Like, okay, this is so stupid. Me and Toya was talking about some girl who posted this long lecture about how she felt like Jada scolded Will for laughing. And mind you, in a matter of 2 seconds, I don't know how she scolded him. She scolded Will for laughing.
That footage hasn't been seen, like that angle of the camera hasn't been released yet.
But this girl, her whole statement was as if this happened. Like, how, you can't form this whole, she narrative. Scolded him and that made him go on the stage and she disrespects him as a man. Like, you don't know what goes on in these people's house. We don't know. All we know is what we saw. And yes, he laughed. But you know what I thought to myself about his laugh? You know how like something happened? Okay, a couple of things. You know how something happens and you like, no, this mother effer didn't. And like as you're kind of thinking like, what am I about to do? And then you like, forget it. And you just do whatever it is. Like that's what I kind of took it as. Or, again, there's a lot going on. It's the Oscars. I don't even know what Chris Rock said prior to that statement, but I thought to myself, maybe he was still laughing and it hadn't quite registered. Sometimes your mind, things register a couple seconds. He could have been like mid-laugh from the joke before and then just like, and then kind of looked at his wife, thought about what he heard, maybe the dots connected, and then he reacted. I don't think he was laughing at the joke per se. I think it was just an awkward moment where he got caught in a laugh, and maybe he then realized what was really going on. But again, I don't know. That's what I think. Another thing I haven't seen anybody say, I was thinking this, and I don't want to put any false narrative like the rest of these people out there. Did he look like he could have been like a little off to you?
Well,
yeah, like when he was coming back from the slap,
when he sat down,
he didn't look right.
The second time he said, keep my wife out, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. His lips was quivering, so he was in a
like he snapped
worked
or
up state.
drunk
Yeah,
or something.
in a worked up state. So yeah, I think he was in a worked up state. Are you done?
One more thing I want to say. Pete, well, you know what? I'm going to save that because that's my beef. Because I do got a beef with the internet people. I do. I got a beef. And it's
they're just
related
regular people, but they're just on
the people on the internet. But, yeah, I mean, that's... Oh, this is another thing. People were saying, oh, it's a joke. Oh, he's a comedian. That's what comedians do. I do feel like in the comedy world, and I know even my husband doesn't always agree with this, there are certain things that you shouldn't joke about. And I'm going to say this. He knows since time immemorial, since we've been together, I do not, and I don't have any personal relationship with anybody that's mentally challenged. Like we don't know anybody in our family.
She don't laugh at those jokes.
I do not. I absolutely have never. I don't think it's funny. You know, when people want to mock voices or physical traits, no kind of mentally challenged jokes. That ain't funny to me. I'm not laughing on TV or in person. So and then in this situation, I feel like if Will and Chris have any kind of relationship, knowing this is something that's sensitive to Jada, it should have been off limits to Chris Rock. And it made me think about the situation with Kevin Hart when you know he had his cheating scandal and Michael Blackson made a joke about it. And again, people say, oh, comedians can say what they want. But Kevin felt like, no, we cool. So out of respect for me and my family, you shouldn't have made a joke about it. Maybe other comedians could have that I'm not cool with, but for me, if we cool like that, that should be off limits to you. So maybe Will felt the same way towards Chris. I don't know. That's my 5 cents.
Wow, 5 cents, a nickel's worth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say this before I give my opinion. I'm gonna say a couple things because you read things online and people try to add conjecture and say and make up these things on what it should be or try to take the high road. So first off, I don't like to see two black men fighting, period. I don't like to see it. But let's not act like we all don't live in a world where people fight. Let's not act like we live in a world where one day 8 billion humans won't fight. Like we're just humans. So people will always, forever fight. That's number one. The show was produced by black people this year. The show was hosted by 3 black people this year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The show was fucked up by black people this year. So I'm going to just say that for all the people who say, you know, the Oscars wasn't about blacks, wasn't about black people, they never let us in, and in the year they let us produce it, the year they let us host it, the year they let us, you know, he wins an Oscar, he slaps the shit out of Chris Rock. So now that all the black stuff and the high road shit's out the way, the disrespect of the joke. If you're a comedian, you're allowed to say any joke that you want, but you can't pick who it offends. You can't pick how somebody is offended by a joke. You can say it all you want to. Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais got all kinds of racist jokes, and people come after them all the time. So you can speak your mind, and it's freedom of speech here. You can say what you want. You can say, we can talk about the president if we want to, but you can't pick your consequences. You can't pick your consequences. Now, when you're speaking from a husband and a wife standpoint, I'm a traditional man. So I show up to protect and provide. That's like the 2 most important things that matter to me as a man. And Will looks like he's providing just fine. But these jokes.
Jada got a bag too, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just saying these jokes. But he's not a man who's not providing. Even if she got her own money, he's a man who provides. So that's my point. But you can't do that. You make me lose my fucking train of thought. I didn't do that to you. God damn.
You said a man that protects and provides.
Yeah. So you show up to protect and provide. But if you got your family on display and people saying jokes about your wife and she's bald-headed and you get to see her pain firsthand and, you know, she crying about this stuff in the house and you see she got to shave her head because it's involuntary, then obviously as a family, y'all deal with that. Now, when you come outside the house, or if you're famous, are you privy to the ridicule and jokes of society? I don't know if that's true or not, just because you're a public figure. I don't know if you have to succumb to jokes and ridicule about your family. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I know that's a part of fame. But as a man, and I'm speaking from a man from Philly, that's where I'm from. He's from Philly. Like, I was always taught, if anybody says anything about your wife, you got to stand up and secure and handle that. So I don't understand how people say, oh, he's smaller. Like, if a small guy hits a guy that's 6'4", nobody says shit about that. If he's talking shit, nobody says a damn thing about that. But now a big guy hits a smaller guy for talking shit, and it's a problem. Like, that's one narrative that's out there. Oh, he shouldn't have hit him because he's small. That's and then stupid. Another one is, okay, like you said, she scolded him. But nobody has ever seen that angle in between the time where he laughs at the joke and then the camera cuts and then all of a sudden he's walking up to the stage.
Right.
Leave people, family and wives and kids out of it. Like, why is that so hard? There's 1,000 jokes that you can make without bringing somebody's wife and kids into it. It really is. It's and Chris Rock and him know each other, but still, there's a respect level there. There's a human level there. And that's just what it is. If you want to know how much I love my wife, say something bad about her. Say something bad. And that's not a threat to nobody, but I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty cool. But when it come to her, it's a different story. Like, I take that shit super duper duper serious. And I won't let it slide for a fucking second. So when I see another man stand up and protect his wife, whether she scolded him or not, he couldn't go back home without doing that. I know how he would have felt inside if he would have been like, damn, if I didn't say nothing, I didn't do nothing. And on a different plane, Will was hurt. Like, you can tell when he sat down, his lips was quivering. He was hurt. There's other shit going on probably in his head from the open relationship, the way people know about it, whatever they go through, whatever they're going through in a house, there's other hurt there. And you could see that shit on his face. So that's leading into another conversation, how black men don't have a safe space to vent. And then you carry shit like this, somebody say something to you, and then boom, here it is. You slap the shit out of them. Yeah. But, it is what it is.
And you know what it made me think about too? I think it's in his book, and I heard that his book was awesome. y'all know I don't read like that. I don't read at all. Can't read. I can read, but I don't. But anyway, I heard the book was awesome. But one of the things that I heard, and I don't know if it's in the book or if he talked about it when he did his book tour, but I heard that he talked about how the Will Smith that we know, I know he's done so many different roles, but the funny, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of silly guy is a character for him.
Yes.
Like, he's not a comedian. I think people forget that because that was his introduction to
us. We never did stand up.
Even through, like, Parents Just Don't Understand. It was more of like a comedic rap style. And then Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it was a sitcom, but he's not a comedian. And he has said that that was a role for him. So I think people expect him to always be that PC guy, politically correct. He's the safe space for Hollywood when it comes to black men, without forgetting, I don't want to say, he from Philly. He's from the inner city.
He's of a certain age.
Yes, he's
and we were taught differently of that age bracket. He's 53 years old, and it's like from 40 to 55, or maybe even 60. Like, you just think a different way about your family and disrespect like that.
And I think, again, people are so used to that, they probably try him. And this is conjecture. I'm making this up. This is my narrative, so I'm not putting it out there like it's the truth. But I can imagine that he probably gets tried more than like a Jay-Z, who don't have that funny characteristic about him. People don't take him as a joke. Or like a anybody like a Denzel. I'm sure people might say little snide stuff to Will more than they would to somebody who is a more serious, who at least displays a more serious persona. And that might have just been his breaking point. Yeah, that might have just been his breaking point.
I'm sure it was his breaking point, but I mean, you can't tell people how to be offended. And what do you say to the people, to the women out there who try to come down on Jada and make this narrative and say, okay, a real woman, if you out with your man and he about to get into a beef, a real woman would grab your arm and say, nah, babe, let's not do that, because they know the consequences. So for her to look at him, to notice where they are, and still let him walk up the stage and slap the shit out of Chris, is she a real one for like not protecting him?
I read that too. So this person,
and it's like, you just look at it from that angle, but also look at it from, okay, I'm hurt right now. So if and only me and you know our looks. Like, I can look at you and know your feelings is hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of other people probably can't tell that. Like, I can know when you bothered by something just by looking at you. So she probably looked at him. He probably had that laugh on his face, like, and then seen her eyes and was like, oh no, she's in that place.
And you know what? I would like to think that Jada had no idea. I don't think anybody except Will knew what was about to happen. Even seeing him get up, walk up there, I don't think anybody knew what was about to happen. And
I don't think they knew that was going to happen.
Right. She might have thought to herself, like, oh my God, what is he doing? Well, I can just imagine her sitting there like, oh my God, what is he doing? What is going on? What is it? But I don't think anybody realized that was about to happen. Yeah, seeing him go up there, she could have been like, no, stop, what are you doing? But then she could have been thinking, oh my God, we're on camera, we're on TV. Again, not thinking, oh, I gotta protect my husband from going up there and slapping Chris' face off, because she probably didn't think that's what was about to happen. So when people would say, oh, you should stop your man, you should... How did she know? I really don't think. I think she was as shocked as the rest of us.
When you read the room, though, if it's us, if it's me and you, and I get up to go address a man, you can read the room. You can kind of... So in the middle of however many steps, 20 steps it took him to walk from the table to the stage, would you holler out my name?
I know you. You're a different man than what we think Will Smith to be. No shade, this might be the first person Will Smith has ever smacked in his life. He got into one little fight.
No, he slapped the white dude who tried to kiss him with some shit. Remember on the thing, he popped him with the backhand.
Oh, yeah.
So he slapped the white dude too.
But he got in one little fight and his mom got scared. And sent him to live with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. So I'm just saying, but I know my husband, if it's a situation and you stand up to walk to, I'm going to be like, babe. But I know if you be like, get off me, I'm going to try to talk to you. But my husband say all the time, this grown man business. Now, please know, from the bottom of my heart, God forbid we somewhere and something go down and my husband is in a tussle. Grown man business or not, that man is getting jumped. That man is getting jumped. He gonna say this man was whooping my behind. His wife jumped in it and didn't even have no reason to. But again, I know you, so I think in that scenario, I might have knew like, oh my God, like, babe, not like, no, don't do this. But I don't think it's a situation where like she let him, she fed him to the wolves, or she let him sacrifice himself or embarrass himself. I don't think that anybody could have imagined that was going to happen.
And I don't think anybody could have stopped it either. It's like when a man has his mind, he's made up to do something, that shit's going to happen. And with certain men, when shit like that happen, that has to happen. Like, I don't think people understand that unless you're a man. Like, a woman wouldn't understand this. But when certain things happen, for you to even feel right within yourself as a man, quietly in a room taking a shit, for you to even feel right within yourself, you have to do that. You have to, even if you lose, you have to do that. Because you're not going to feel right with yourself. Because Will slapped him doesn't mean he's a thug. It doesn't mean he's a nigga. It doesn't mean any of that shit.
He's less than
it just,
a man.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he's less than a man, a coward.
None of that.
It doesn't mean he took the low road. It just means that's the decision he made. Like, you can say what you want to people. You can say anything you want to people. But you can't pick your fucking consequences. You can't pick your consequences. You can say nigga to people. You can call everybody names all you want to, but when you get slapped in your face, you can't bitch about it. You can't say all of a sudden now, oh, you beneath me now. Like, oh, it should be assault charges. Yeah, like that's not something you would ever play in any other situation. Now all of a sudden everybody say, oh, you should have went to the back. Like, somebody disrespect my wife right here on live TV, but I gotta wait to get to the back to check him. I gotta wait to go to the after party to check them. Like, when you in an emotional state, everybody want to have these ideas of you should think rational. Like, I don't know if y'all ever been in emotional states, but that's the least fucking time you think rational. When you hyper and emotional about shit, that's the least time rational thoughts come to your brain. The least time. So when you mad about shit, how the fuck people gonna say, oh, you should think rational?
And you know what? Even if you think that he made the wrong decision, he made a mistake. Like, that doesn't define, and it's a shame because in this world, people will hold no matter how many good things you may have done, they will hold that one good thing. Stephen A. Smith said something so stupid. Did you see my post where I told him to shut up?
No, but don't tell men to shut up, Tosh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
that's dumb shit, especially on the internet. Like, what are you, an internet person?
No, but I added him.
Still, chill with that. Don't tell no fucking man to shut up.
Because, okay, you're right. And I shouldn't have, okay, you're right. What he said was so stupid to me because it was like, and I don't know if him and Will have like any kind of relationship like in their careers, but he was like, I used to love Will, but not after this. If they did have some kind of relationship or if there was any affinity towards Will Smith, he made a mistake. If you love somebody, you correct them or you give them your opinion, you help them to better themselves, help them to see a different perspective. But you don't just, turn your back or cut people off. Oh, you did this. No, that's just that.
Support him as he goes through it. Let him go through it and take the heat for what he did.
Even if it's like, bruh, come on now.
Yeah.
You could have handled
it's
that
nothing wrong with saying, yo, I don't agree with what you did. Or, I thought the whole situation was foul. But still support him.
Or, are you okay?
Yeah.
It seems like your actions may have been fueled by something else.
If that's your thought, you think it was foul. I don't think it was foul.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Or even if you don't think it was foul, I think the appropriate thing, if you have a relationship with him, if you care about him a little bit, and you are able to contact him, you all right? I mean, I saw the situation. Look, bro, I'm with you. If you with him, it seems like it may have been some other things there. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you. Or if you need somebody to talk to, I got a doctor you can, you're a good counselor you can call. Or, you want to go shoot some hoops, get some stress off, you want to go to the gym. That's the things that you do or you should do and say if you really care about somebody. Not, I loved Will, but not after that.
And I think a lot of people kind of like cheered Will on the low key because a lot of people might say, for the past decade, Chris Rock been coming out and talking about everybody in the audience and throwing out jokes and mean shit to everybody. But I mean, that's his job and that's the perspective I'm coming from. But that don't necessarily mean people like it. So when you see somebody stand up to it, it's like, damn, like he got the bully.
Well, no, I hope that isn't the direction that people go in. For me, I hope that this was just strictly because it was personal, not because you always coming at, because that is his job.
I think I hope it was just
strictly a personal thing.
I think Will was putting on his tux that evening, and his mindset was, I wish a motherfucker would.
And they
at
did.
The house. What's her name? Regina Hall. I think he let that go because I think he was just waiting.
I didn't hear what she said, but
she was saying you got to go on the back for a COVID test, and then she was saying all the single people, and then she got to all the married people, and then she was like, "Will, your name came up, but you married, but Jada the one who put your name in here." So it was like saying, because y'all open, you got to come back and get a COVID test too.
Okay.
Something to that effect. And it was a play on their open relationship. And I think he kind of giggled at that and let that slide. But I think he thought to himself in his head, my opinion, that he was waiting on a man to say something. Because he can't go up there and check Regina. And if Jada feel like it's out of pocket, then she would have checked her. And I think he was just waiting on the man. I think he was tying his tie that night, saying, I wish a motherfucker would tonight. I just wish a motherfucker would. I'm about to go in this room with all these people. I know how it's going to be. I wish that narrative would. And he was fed the fuck up. And that joke came out. And let me just say this. Jada Pinkett Smith is beautiful. Like, gorgeous. Bald head. And I don't even like small head, bald head.
He met her before.
Yeah, I don't like small head, bald head.
Wait, did you tell me, is that why you named your daughter Jada?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, and she's beautiful, like drop dead gorgeous, beautiful, with a bald head. And I don't even like bald heads, but I can't deny that she's beautiful. So to say something like, and I get it's a mild joke, but it's insensitive. It's insensitive. And again, no matter how mild you say it is, it's G.I. Jane. You can't tell somebody else how to be offended. You just can't. That's not how the world works. That's not how people work. That's just not how it goes. You can't say some shit out your mouth and then say that, and you should only be this mad because it was this mild. You can't do that. That's not how human beings work.
I'm going to tell y'all this, right? Here's a transparency moment. And I'm not going to be but so transparent about some facts because just it's family business. But, y'all know we've kind of discussed me having fertility issues, and it is what it is. I will tell you this. If you ever make a comment or something, just be careful of what you say to me, because I can protect myself and I'm going to check you. But my husband, there are family members, very close family members that we don't go around, and I don't even push him to want to go around because of the fact that I feel like it may be a chance somebody will say something spitefully, which again, I'm 100% prepared and willing and able to defend myself and speak up for myself. But before I would even have a chance to, my husband would check the situation so quickly. So, it's just one of those things, and that just because, and I understand, and I think that's what people have to remember also. Just because you understand something doesn't mean that everybody condones it. Like, I saw somebody say like, oh, this lets me see the kind of people that I don't want to be a part of my life, the people who are agreeing with this.
Then whatever.
So you really only want people in your life who agree with everything that you think?
Or people you think, like I bet you if you was out with your man, all the women out there who say that, you was out with your man and somebody disrespected you, and you really felt in your chest you was disrespected, and you walking with somebody who you sleep with, lay with, say you love, and you down at your lowest, y'all together, you look in the eyes day after day, and y'all doing life together, and he don't say nothing about it, he don't check the man about it, how the fuck you gonna feel?
I remember one time.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I remember one time we were at it was something with your coworkers. I think it was somebody's wedding, and we won't say who. And one of his coworkers, I am very my intuition. I don't like strange men in my personal space. I don't like unwarranted touches. Don't rub my shoulder. None of that kind of stuff. And we were at this wedding, sitting at a table of like 8 or 10, and somebody sitting next to him, and then one of his coworkers sitting next to me. And this man, I think he might have did it once, and I like, don't touch me, and I think by the third time, I leaned over, was like, can you please tell this man to stop touching me? And I almost regretted it because, again, this isn't a work function, but it's people there from work, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't want my husband to break this man in half. But he in 2 seconds was at the table, don't put your hands on my wife again. And the man, I don't know if he left or
I don't know
what.
any other way. And I'm not the baddest motherfucker in the world. I just don't know any other way. So maybe I can't comprehend it. But I'm super transparent on this platform. I try to be, and I'm sensitive about shit. And this one here is something that I'm super duper sensitive about. I don't say jack shit about nobody's wife. Don't say shit about mine. Don't say shit
And let's
about
not get
mine.
it twisted. I think I make it very clear in my social media life. Before I used to post you, you know, I'm not one of my cousins. This goes for family too. One of my cousins like says something like, "Why you always posting half his face? Like the picture or keep scrolling or you'll be blocked. Don't ask me about him. Don't ask me why I'm not posting him. Don't ask me where he at. Don't ask me why I'm not showing his full face. Mind your business. Like the picture or keep scrolling." I had another situation. This was years ago when we were at the zoo. The job used to have like a zoo day for the employees. And this like Kay, I'll say her name. I don't know if she watch either, but we cool now. We kind of, you know, we always joke about it. She comes, hey, like following us, like I don't want to say chasing me down, but almost like chasing me down, like hey. And then I think we didn't meet up or whatever. The next day, she was like, "I was trying to get your attention. I wanted to know who was that fine man you was with. You was chasing me down and asked me about my husband." Like, that's what you thought you was going to do? Like, ask me who he was? You could have, like, just gave a head nod and kept moving. You're not about to chase me down and ask me about my man. Like, it's just, again, it's just certain boundaries that people have to understand that you don't cross. Don't ask me questions.
I don't know any other way, and I don't say shit about anybody's wife out of sheer man respect. If that's his wife, I don't got nothing to say about it. He love her, I salute. So that's just the energy that I keep with men. And everybody also need to know it's a low level of violence with any group of men. I don't give a shit who they are. Movie stars, porn stars, UFC fighters, whoever it is, ballerina dancers. If it's 6 men that all dancing ballerinas, guess what? There's a low level of violence between men, period. If you're a female, you don't understand this. But with men, we have conversations, and at any given moment, somebody can feel uncomfortable with what you said. And you got to stand on that. And if they are offended in a certain way, they're going to approach you in a certain way. So
Do you think that's based on culture or just gender?
I think it's based on gender.
Okay.
I think there's culture that's mixed in there. I'm not going to say it's no culture, but it's based on gender. It's men, period. If it's a group of white boys, 6 of them, sitting there having beers, there's a low level of violence in that group. If it's 6 black men, 6 Jewish men, it doesn't matter. There's a low level of violence at any given moment. Somebody could say something that another man is uncomfortable with, and if he check you, then what? That's just what it is. It can go left. But with men, it's like that. I don't know how it is with women, but with men, there's always a low level of violence in the air. Period.
Wow.
So Jada couldn't have done nothing. Do you know my sensibilities?
What does that mean?
Like, do you know what I'm sensitive about?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know the things that I'm triggered by?
I do.
So you know when or if I'm in a state where I'm about to do something, or I'm not, like you seeing me like I ain't never seen him like that, some shit might go down.
Yeah.
Do you know, can you tell everything that I'm going to be offended by?
Not every. I think I at certain intervals in our life, I learn new things, but I think for the most part, we kind of covered most bases. Your hair is like, oh, you got like some bad.
But you can't tell, according to what somebody say to me on any given day, if I'm gonna be offended or not.
No, I mean,
like, you don't know what mood I'm gonna be in. You don't know who the person is, and if they say something to me.
I thought you meant like as in okay. So from a different person, no, because the other day we were at dinner and the man asked me. He said, "Would you like another cup of coffee, hon?" And like, he had to check himself. Like, I was about to say something. Him calling you hun. I didn't even think about it. The man wasn't flirting. He kind of said it as he was walking away. So I would not have thought that would have been almost a trigger for you. So I think
that was my trauma bonding kicking in.
Like you were protecting me.
Aw.
Yeah, I mean.
And then when it like you said, when things it takes a second to register. because when I refer to you, it's either T or Tosh or whatever. So if it's not that syllable or enunciation, I'm like hun, like H, like what is? And then once I hun, it was like, oh, what else is he supposed to say? He's the waiter.
Ma'am. I mean, he could have said ma'am or something like that.
It wasn't sweetheart or sweetie.
Yeah, I mean,
or toots.
Right. He didn't have a feminine touch to him. At least not to me. It didn't appear that way. But he also didn't appear to be flirting in any way. So I guess that was a moment where I didn't know or think that it would like ring a bell in your head. But when you talk about things that you're sensitive about, I know. But I guess there may be some situations that man to man, like you tell me certain stuff, like if a man body language is a certain way, it can be taken as disrespectful, which I don't know. I'm not a man, but you allow me to be aware of that information. Now, I can't say that I can know how you're going to react to a situation. I think that you are aware and in tune enough not to put yourself in a situation where you're going to react without thinking about it, where you're going to react recklessly.
Right.
If something happens and it turns into a physical altercation, you considered the consequences before it happened.
Oh, hell yeah.
You didn't just like snap
that's
and
what I'm
lose all
saying. Like
sensibility.
if I'm by myself, I'm more inclined to be just chill. Mm-hmm. If I'm with you, then there's not a fucking chance that I'm gonna be chill. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm with you. And that's just how I feel. Like, if you don't know that you're safe around me, then as a man, I don't feel like I'm doing my job. I don't feel like I'm the presence you need in your life. Like, and I don't mean that in a barbaric way, like go around and beat everybody up. But if we was out and somebody disrespected you, and I'm looking at you and you got glassy eyes and tears in your eyes, and I don't say nothing, what's that car ride like home?
No, I'm afraid for the person. If somebody
I'm saying, what if I don't react? Like, what's that like when we get home as a woman?
I don't know
like,
that feeling, because
do you feel
have
like,
always...
damn, I feel really violated because a stranger disrespected me, like another man disrespected me, and who I'm coming home now to lay down with didn't even stand up for me. He was on some rational shit, like, damn, babe, I ain't want to. Man, it's like I just wasn't taught like that. I can't think that way. Like, again, y'all want to know how I'm losing it all for her. I'm losing it all for her. Like, job, wherever we at, wherever the disrespect is, I'm losing it right there. Like, I don't care when it comes to her. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, and I think in those situations, like I said, I would try to...
Like the young people say, that's the time I'm going to turn up the most. The most.
Don't use the young people like that.
I'm dead serious. Like, I don't...
No, what's our new... You going to stand on business.
I'm going to stand on business. Like, I don't know no other way. I'm sorry. I'm 44 years old. I don't know no other way than to protect mine. And for somebody that I lay down with and call my wife and snuggle and huggle with, and I'm there in her deepest and darkest moments, nah. Fuck, I don't give a fuck how much money I got. I'm going to be thinking that I got money. I don't need this shit. I'm losing it right here on the Oscars. Yeah. I'm losing it.
I think, again, he made a mistake if you don't agree with his actions. And I'm not going to say he made a mistake in defending his wife. People say, oh, the platform and, you should know better than to act this way. But as a man, where you act up is where you get checked. Like maybe that was his mentality. Like, I'm not waiting. What if I don't get a chance to see you? Or I don't have your phone number? Or... like, whatever his rationale was, he felt he did what he had to do. And it's nobody's place to tell somebody else how to protect their family.
And all these
it's just nobody's place.
People want to sit behind a keyboard and tell somebody, oh, when you're in a heightened state and you're fucking emotional and you're about to cry and your lips quivering, think rationally. Like, just think back to your own goddamn life. Whenever somebody pissed you off, whenever you was about to fight, or whenever you was in a tussle, tell me you had a rational thought.
I just want to know how I'm about to call him Chris Brown, how Chris Rock didn't react.
That's another aspect of it. Is like, His hands didn't come from behind his back.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like
He
somebody
didn't
touched
even
your face and your hands didn't come from behind your back. That's some major, major professionalism. And again, he wasn't in a fight or flight state where he looked scared, like I'm about to run. I don't want to fight. I just got hit. And he didn't look like, yo, I'm about to throw a foot back and throw a punch at you. He didn't look like that either. He just looked like, what the fuck just happened? Like, he slapped me? And then by that time, some seconds done went past and he done walking back to the chair now.
And he
It's
looking
like,
at him like...
yeah, like, what just happened? Now...
So, question. Does any part of you think that it was staged?
No.
Okay.
No. And I'm on both of their sides as far as, again, you talk about my wife, I have to react. That's just me as a man. I have to. In order for me to go home and sleep, I have to react. Now, on the flip side of that coin, man touch your face, you don't do nothing. Man, look, I don't know. It's no Oscars this year. Like I got to come to the table.
It would have been one of the beep.
Yeah, like y'all got
it's TV.
Man, look, the first year y'all at the Black Center, we fucked it up. Like we beat the rest of the thing off.
But you said something, and this is how I feel. I want to make sure that we acknowledge, like you said, it was blacks in all spaces.
Hell
the
yeah.
blacks who did the production.
Blacks who was
them
hosting.
their
Yeah.
props. The blacks who were hosting. So let's not.
But I
just
say that from the aspect of white people. I say that from the aspect of white people saying, "Oh, look at this! From years and years, they said we don't let them in, and we got no nominations. The first year we let them produce and host, look what happens. They bring the violence." One of the biggest fucking stars.
Just don't group us all together. Just like, y'all, we don't say y'all are
And I
all
agree
are
with you.
serial killers.
That's another narrative out there is that, Will Smith smacking him, it makes all black people look bad. Will Smith don't represent me. He don't represent my wife. He slapped him. That's a decision he made. He got to deal
Smith
with
represents the Smith household.
Yeah, that same day or a couple days before that, a black woman was sworn into to be a
Supreme Court
yeah.
judge.
So that makes black people look good. So it balances out. You can't say that just because he slapped him when I think he should have, it makes all black people look bad. No.
My opinion, I don't really have an opinion to say he should have or he should not have. He should have protected his wife in the way that he deemed was appropriate at that time. Does it mean I agree with him slapping him or I agree with people fighting or violence? Absolutely not. Like, I think if a woman killed her husband who was abusing her, I understand why she did it. Does it mean that I agree with murder? No. But so I understand why he did it, right or wrong. That ain't for me to judge. He did what he thought was necessary or how he felt was best for him to handle that situation. It ain't none of my business.
I'm just saying, some men on this earth at a certain age, when somebody is walking up to you, they have an intent to harm you. If you are talking to some man from across the room and that fucking guy starts walking up on you, you think he about to fucking talk to you and offer you something to drink or some shit? No, he about to punch you in the face. Soon as he get in your airspace, he about to punch you in the face. Because he could have stayed arguing with you from over there. He about to punch you in the face. So you gotta... I don't understand how people don't have that kind of street smart or don't have that kind of wherewithal to know that... Put your arms out. Everybody put your arms out and draw a circle. Anybody that comes within that airspace can hurt you.
But I don't think that anybody expected that. I could see if
Chris Rock as a man should have been like...
No. I could see if Will hollered first, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth, and then walked up there. What the hell? Did you get it?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Oh, go ahead.
Did you just drop the joint in your shoe?
Yes, I did.
On camera.
Yep.
We're not taking this out of the episode.
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
Doobie in my shoe. Burnt the shit out my ankle. God damn. Kids out there be smoking weed.
Okay. I don't think, let me get a sip of that. I don't think Chris Rock knew what was about to go down.
I don't think so either. I agree with you.
So I say this, right? Thinking of the character of Will Smith that we're used to seeing. He makes this joke about Jada. Will could have been walking up there to have a Kanye moment like Kanye did when he was like, Taylor Swift, I'm gonna let you have your moment, but Beyonce just, he could have been walking up there to have a moment like that, to be like, all y'all out there. He could have gave a message about alopecia aware. Like, I think there are a lot of different thoughts that might have been going through people's head.
Because Chris Rock called him Richard.
Including his wife, including Chris Rock. So I can see how Chris Rock was probably confused, like, what is he coming up here for?
Because he said, oh, Richard.
Right. But I think that's probably why he didn't react or like get
Kept
prepared.
his hands behind his back.
But once the smack occurred, how did he keep his hands behind his back? Then how
Make a
did
joke?
he not even like
the professionalism?
Man,
that's his professionalism. I'm not saying it should go in
when
front
you
of your
say
manhood.
flight or I can never say that.
Fight
or flight or freeze. He froze. Like,
he didn't freeze. He kept it moving. He was more in shock. He didn't freeze like.
But he froze in the sense of like.
No, babe. He was immediate with
Okay.
it. He was like, swap. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. He was right on it. He didn't pause. He turned with the smack and came. When he turned back around, he was like, wow, bro. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. By that time, he was 10 steps away from him.
I was going to say I would like to know how he had that, but I don't want to know because I that ain't nothing that I want to be able to do to not react if somebody thinks they're going to smack me. So I don't want to know.
Like I said in the beginning, I don't want to see black men fight either, but we don't live in a world where people don't fight, and it is what it is. Like, people are going to fight tomorrow and the next day. We're all humans. Mm-hmm. We're emotional people. So it's going to be that. And it's going to be that way forever. Like, it's been that way since the wheel. So it's going to be that way forever.
Since the wheel?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be that way. Do you think that's going to help Rock's career?
I heard that it is. That his ticket sales were like a foul. I don't think it's going to hurt it at all. I think, we love comedy. We go to comedy shows. And I tell you all the time, Chris Rock, I probably can listen to him more than I can watch him because his body language is weird to me. But I heard that his tickets were like $1,000. Now, that's weird to me that I don't understand what would make people like, maybe because they're thinking the material is going to be in there. But I mean, what kind of joke could you tell? Unless it's going to be some self-deprecation and him talking about how
He's going to probably talk about how crazy Hollywood is, and you're going to be scared of people because everybody thought the nice smiling Will Smith he's a fucking, So what do you think about if, how, and I heard that the writers wrote that joke. That wasn't a Chris Rock joke. That the writers wrote that, who usually write for the Oscars. And those are comedians too.
Okay.
But they're people who you wouldn't
no. Right.
And they don't always name them. So what if that was The Rock who said the joke? You think Will smacks The Rock?
That's a great question.
He's bigger, that's one perspective, and he's white or looked at as white. So from both perspectives, do you think he smacks if I'm trying to think of a white comedian that's bigger than Will Smith?
Seinfeld.
Yeah, do you think he slapped Seinfeld?
Wow, that's a great question.
Do you think he gets up, walks up there and smacks the shit out of Seinfeld? Or The Rock? If The Rock comes out and the writers told him, hey, look, they say this little joke, and The Rock goes out there and lays the joke and it falls flat just like it did, do you think Will Smith goes up and slaps The Rock?
I don't think so. And that's the sad part about it. Like, because
of what? He's bigger, or because he's looked at as a white man?
I think it's more of that. And I don't know. I heard that there was some, I don't want to say beef, but maybe Chris Rock had made some disparaging comments about Jada in the past. Yeah. So maybe this was brewing prior to that. So maybe that's why he was like more quicker to do that to Chris Rock. Or like with the others, if there wasn't any history of them doing that, I don't know. I can't imagine it. I didn't imagine him smacking Chris Rock, but I can't imagine that he would. And it may, I don't want to even say, because it's one of them things where he may have felt more comfortable with Chris Rock, maybe because it was supposed to be like a brother to brother thing. Like,
I would like to think he smacks The Rock. because it's what you stand on. So
Yeah,
I would hate to say no and have it my mind think like, damn, you only did it because ball's smaller than you and it's Chris Rock.
How about this?
If it's The Rock who comes out there in his fucking fitted suit and says that shit,
let's not
do
even
you start
go there.
picturing The Rock with chains around his neck?
But do you think if it was Denzel
who says the joke?
Yeah, or no, let's not say Denzel. If it was Tyler Perry, because I'm thinking of somebody who's funny, who kind of does jokes.
I don't think Tyler Perry would do the joke though. I think he's too sensitive to women.
But supposedly Chris Rock didn't know about Jada's condition. And to be honest, I'm gonna just say this, right? I've never watched. No, that's a lie. I watched the Red Table Talk show one time. I think when the girl Jordan Woods was on there. It's not really my style. I was never able to get into it, so I've never watched any of the episodes. I don't follow them, so I think I had heard murmurings or I seen a post or something saying about her cutting her hair off. But to be completely honest, I wasn't 100% aware of I didn't know it was alopecia. I think I read something about her shaving her head because of her being sick, but I wasn't completely aware. So it's not surprising to me if Chris Rock, if he's telling the truth, that he really didn't know. So that's why I say if it was like Denzel, or I'm trying to think of a different black comedian.
If it's not, even if you don't know, again, that takes you back to the question, just because you're a star and you're famous, are you subject to ridicule? Because Will Smith is there. He's there. Her husband's there. You're a man. Make the joke about him. And is it something to say for men? Like Chris Rock is a divorced man. So he's got a different outlook and aspect and perspective towards women than Will Smith does.
But I don't think the joke was okay. I don't think the joke was bad. I think it was stupid.
It fell flat. It wasn't really that funny.
Because she
didn't play G.I. Jane, so I didn't catch it at first.
He said something like, "Was she preparing for
G.I. Jane 2?" But I initially thought that Demi Moore did that. I didn't.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think the joke was disrespectful at all. Lupita was sitting directly behind Will. If Lupita showed up, who typically has hair, and now she has a bald head, that joke could have been said to her "Oh, Lupita, you get," because it's just the correlation of a woman having a bald head. So I don't think there was anything disrespectful about the joke. I mean, I could be in the market and somebody, if I shave my head, "Oh, you getting ready for G.I. Jane?" And it would be a laugh because G.I. Jane had a bald head. It's stupid. So I don't think anything about the joke was ridiculing. Mm-hmm. I think it was just she was sensitive, and therefore he was sensitive as her spouse, because it's not yes, she looks gorgeous, but her having a bald head was I saw somebody say, if she had cancer, you wouldn't say that because it's not a choice.
Right.
I mean, even though it is, she cut her hair off because of alopecia.
But
I think
it's still involuntary because it's patchy.
Exactly. So it's
and
not
it's
a
scars
choice.
Too.
But it's not. I don't think the joke was again. If Lupita came in and with a shaved head and he said that, it would have just been a ha 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 ha.
Does it help or hurt Will's career?
I don't think either. I honestly think that in this crazy world, it's going to pass over. I think there'll be some conversations about it. But the sad part about it is the reason why I don't think it will hurt his career is because it was another black man. If he had slapped Seinfeld, or if he had slapped Gerard Butler, I don't know if he's pertinent. I'm trying to think of a big name white actor. If he had slapped, what's the guy from Silver Linings Playbook that Bradley Cooper. But I don't think in this crazy world with so much craziness going on, because one thing is that the line is too divided. This isn't a situation where he was caught with a child, or he was a drunk driver and killed somebody, where it's okay, you're clearly wrong. It's a very divided line on people's opinions on what he did. So I don't think it's going to hurt his career.
I don't think it's going to hurt Rock's career. I think it's going to probably boost it because people are going to want to hear him talk about it. And I don't think it's going to help Will's career.
You said you don't think it's going to help?
No, I don't think it's going to help or hurt his career. Yeah. I think it's going to be the status quo for him. A lot of people can surmise that it's going to hurt his career, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't either.
That's going to be the end of that. Will smack Chris. A lot of people think he should. A lot of people think he don't. Your opinion is your opinion. But some people are just cut from a different cloth. Some people have things and people in their life that they cherish. Some people, you know, that they love deeply, that you don't know their connection, their relationship, and how they feel about that person, what that person means to them. So despite their public relationship with August Alsina and having an open marriage, it works for them. They've been together 25 years. Like, so whatever works for you, works for you. Whatever works for them, works for them. Your shit just ain't publicized. And I'm sure with theirs being publicized, it just gets old. It just gets old. And a part of his speech was, you know, a part of this business, you got to let people say shit about you and act like it's cool. And he just didn't act like it wasn't cool that night. And that's just it. It wasn't cool that night. I don't think Will's a bad guy. He's not a thug. He's not a nigga. He's not a man out of control. He just was hurt by what was said and hurt by what was in his heart and on his mind. And looking at his wife, he knows her pain more than anybody. So the fact that they was out at the Oscars and somebody disrespected her, nah. I've been out with her before, and I've had to ask myself, like, you good? Did anybody disrespect you? Because I see a look on her face, and she'll be like, no, I'm good, or yeah. And then somebody has to get talked to, like she said, family members or not. It's something you can't let go if you're that type of man. And if you're not that type of man, I salute to you. Maybe you handle things differently. And I'm not knocking your way of handling things, but for me, it only can be handled one way. And that's not even for her. Her, it's secondary. It's for me to come home and be able to sit with myself and say, okay, the woman that I love, I protected her. Like, I'm doing that's what men do. You show up to protect and provide, period. Any more about that?
Nope. Let's wrap it up, people. After y'all watch this episode, we're going to get, you know what? I'm going to give y'all a few more days past Sunday. Let's wrap it up, though. No more. We don't want to keep talking about this forever and ever.
What's your beef? My beef is, because I know you said you had one earlier. Mine is Paris Harvey and Karan Harvey. Paris Harvey's 12 years old. Karan Harvey's 14 years old. She shot her cousin and then shot herself because she was playing with a 9mm with a 100-round drum clip in it. I'm like lost for words right now. I had a beef, but I'm kind of lost for words. But to see a 12-year-old shoot her cousin like that, and then the gun fall, and then she shoot herself, and I think it was like 9 adults in the house, and it's 2 dead kids in the bathroom bleeding out. It's just horrific. It's just horrific shit. And I don't know, you know, again, handgun situation, gun violence, gun control, kids playing with guns. I don't know how 12-year-olds get guns like that. And it's just something that needs to stop. So that's my beef, that 2 more kids have died. I haven't even checked what the body count is in Philadelphia in a while, and I'm not going to. But shit like this has to stop. A 12-year-old and a 14-year-old girls, and it's not good.
A friend said, I saw somebody post something and it said, family members, I don't want to just say parents, stop being so naive thinking, oh, your kids wouldn't. Because, you know, as gun owners, more and more people, and not even meaning that you have to be an illegal gun owner. As a legal gun owner, lock your guns up. Whether that means put them in a safe, whether that means put one of those locks in it. Stop thinking, oh, my kids know better.
Oh, they know not to go get it.
Kids are naturally curious. Just naturally curious. Kids don't have an understanding of the day. They think they do, but don't from what I understand, that had like a hairline trigger on there, which was why, if you unfortunately saw the video, it was so easy for her to shoot her.
It's not even a hairline trigger, it's a switch. That's what it's called.
Okay, so that's why it was so easy. It wasn't like she pow pow pulled it.
No.
It was so easy for the trigger to go off, which again, I hate the way the story was written, saying, you know, she turned the gun on herself. No, again, it was so easy for it to go off, which resulted in her shooting herself. Kids are curious. Lock your guns up. Don't feel like, oh, my kids know better, my kids would never, they wouldn't touch that. It's just too many. It's a story a little while ago, like a boy shot his grandma, a 4-year-old or something, shot his grandma. He was in the back of a car and he found the gun. He didn't know. Like, so stop thinking that you don't have to take precautions because your kids know better. Because no matter how many things that your parents think that you knew better about, but you still did.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what she's saying, the people who write this shit, when we first saw it, it was like the girl shot her cousin and then turned the gun on herself. Like what
she
kind
committed
of fake
suicide.
ass narrative
No, she
is that?
didn't.
That's how it was written first on some websites. Murder suicide. Like that's ridiculous and insensitive to a family who lost, you know, 2 kids in a tragic incident like this. Like you got to get all the information. You can't just be, you know, likes and clicks and all that shit. Like, get the information before you post something like that about kids dying.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a murder. That's a big fucking deal. Murder, suicide, and accident. That's a big fucking deal.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
All right, my beef. This is tying back to the Chris Rock, Will Smith debacle, but also about life in general. People. Your opinion is just that, your opinion. Just because you think one way and somebody else thinks a different way, it doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong, or they're right and you're wrong. People can think differently. That's what makes us human. We're not robots to program to do the same things, think the same way. Just because your husband may have handled the situation one way, my husband would have handled the situation a different way. Somebody else's husband may have handled the situation a third way. Guess what? That's their choice. That's their decision. My opinion is maybe different. What my husband may do, I may not even agree with. But guess what? My opinion is just that. It doesn't make it law. Seeing people commentary throughout the week was like, wow, people are really, I don't even know if it's narcissism.
It is narcissism.
It's like, who are you to think just because this is how you feel, that's the law? And again, I saw somebody say, oh, seeing people's remarks it's just a reminder of the kind of people I don't want in my life if they think this is okay. So everybody that you're friends with have to think the same way. Now, I agree there should be some commonality in values and beliefs and morals and ethics. But again, I have friends who will purchase items from boosters. I ain't never buying nothing from a booster. That don't mean that can't be my friend because, oh, you would do that and I wouldn't. It's like, stop thinking that your way is the only way. Your way is your way for you, for your family, and how you operate in your circle. Somebody else's way is theirs. And if it don't impact you, if it don't affect you, mind your business.
Talk your shit. Just because you type something emphatically don't mean it's the gospel. 3 grams. A quick question. One of the grams. What actor would play you in a movie about your life?
Wow. I would say, well, she is an actress. Jill Scott.
I knew you was going to say that. That's such low-hanging fruit.
Why?
I'm just saying it is.
She, I think, would embody, I mean, I don't know any other actress.
I think so, too. I agree with you.
Yeah, it would be Jill Scott. Like,
I see you when I look at her.
I don't think that anyone else could capture the glow and could portray me any better than she could when I think about actresses in Hollywood. Who would be yours? Well, Romeo is no longer with us, so.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Wow. You know, as you said, as the words were coming out your mouth, I started matching it. And that's not a bad that's not a bad one.
Well, I put some thought into it.
Well, because you knew the question, yeah. That's not bad. I can see that. I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Las Vegas man was awarded $8 million for being given chemicals when he ordered a beer. They didn't take the chemicals out of the taps that they clean them with. And he got burnt esophagus, ulcers in his stomach, and ulcers in his esophagus. And violently sick.
But is it curable? Like,
ulcers
is he
he'll
still
have forever. He'll have to take medication for that.
Wow.
They're like legions in your esophagus and stomach. Like
wow,
burns.
$8 million.
Yeah.
That's sad. If
drank a couple beers and it had the chemical in it that cleans out the pipe. They didn't take it out and put the beer back.
Jesus Christ.
So like burnt the fuck
Drano
out of
or something.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
8 million enough?
That's why I was asking, like, is it curable? I mean, is it like he's
8 million
living a debilitated
for
life?
For hospital issues for the rest of your life? Ulcers can kill you.
That's why I asked the question. Like, I didn't realize, like, you still dealing with ulcers the rest of your life.
You gotta take medication, but that don't mean one won't burst.
I think the question is, how has his quality of life been impacted? Because that's what makes the difference. I mean, is 8 million enough? Who's to say what your life is worth? 8 million you could reasonably live on. I mean, how old was he?
I think he was in his 50s.
I mean, you could live off 8 million for the rest of your life. But again, how is your quality of life impacted? And we know from that movie, when you have insurance claims and stuff like that, that is how they determine your. Now, this was about for big corporations, but that is how they determine how your settlement payment, how much it is. You're assigned a number. What was your value in life? Mm-hmm. As cold and callous as that sounds, what was your job? What value did you have to your family? What value did you have to the community? That determines, and this talked about 9/11. That determines how big the settlement will be, because if you have very little value in the community and they feel like you have very little fiscal value to your family, your settlement will be very much lesser than somebody that they feel had a huger impact in society and their family. That's messed up. We're in the same accident. We're in the same building that falls down. We're in the same building that catches on fire.
If you're a CEO and I'm a janitor, the settlements is different.
That's crazy. I'm a human.
I know. I agree with you.
That's crazy.
I agree with you, but everybody who's seen the movies about 9/11 know that's how it works.
That's crazy.
Last question. If someone wrote a book about your life, what would it be titled?
Woo, child.
Woo, child?
That would be the title.
For real?
It's like, no. Oh, wow. It would be A Glow in the Dark.
A Glow in the Dark?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love you. So cheesy, corny.
A Glow in the Dark.
Wow.
What would yours be?
Hi, I'm Walt.
What?
Hi, I'm Walt.
Oh, so you know what? I kind of like that metaphorically, because it's like you're introducing yourself to the world. So I'm laughing, but it resonates metaphorically. Let me get some of that. It resonates to say, hi, I'm Walt, because,
That's a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 6. Let's do a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 64. It was great being here.
Why did you say that again?
What?
Let's do a wrap. That was weird.
It was you had to be there. It was like nothing. Something I thought of.
Well, right over my head.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
permanent. It was just like
don't go back there. People have asked me about that, and I still
permanent.
I still to this day don't know what he's talking about. He's never told me when he said that on a previous episode, and again, it is cracking his side, and I still don't know what it's about. So please, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I don't know what you're laughing about.
Act 2 the podcast. You can catch us on the website at act2thepodcast.com. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on TikTok, talking. You can catch us on Instagram, gramming. You can catch us on Breaker, breaking shit. You can catch us on Anchor, sinking shit. You can catch us on Radio Public, we outside. You can catch us on Google Podcasts, podcasting. You can catch us on YouTube, tubing. You can catch us on Spotify, Spotifying.
Okay.
A2TP Podcast, episode 64. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, God damn it, you should. Peace.